Hello students, we're more than halfway through the term at this point. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about what it is you're doing this week. So you may have noticed if you've taken a look at Blackboard this week already that your discussion post assignment looks the same as your writing assignment for this week. And that's good news for you because that means that basically you really just have one assignment to work on this week. That's because your writing assignment is something you're actually going to be posting within discussion. So let's take a look at the discussion board instructions. I'm going to scroll down to week 7 discussion. And let's take a look at the instructions. To participate in this peer review assignment, please follow these steps. So peer review is what you will be engaging in this week. You're essentially going to be posting your rough draft, which you already completed, to your discussion forum, and you're going to be reviewing each other's papers and providing feedback for improvement for the final draft. So step 1 here is create a new thread by clicking the Create Thread button in the discussion forum. Let's see what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead and open the discussion forum. It may look a little bit different on the student side, but you are going to find a button that says Create Thread. So this is different than our usual responding to a thread I've created. Instead, you're going to go ahead and create your own thread. And here's where you type in your particular message. So what actually goes in this message? Well, let's go ahead and take a look again at our instructions. For starters, you're going to name your thread, and you have to use this format. So type your first name followed by last name and then the words rough draft. And then you're going to post your rough draft as an attachment in your thread. It is important to post the draft of your essay as early in the week as possible to have the best chance of getting somebody to actually review your work. So let's go back in here. This is where that heading would go, first and last name, rough draft. And then within here, you're going to want to attach your rough draft. You could do that in a couple of places. You could either hit the attach file button here, or if you scroll down a little bit, you can browse my computer and select it from wherever you have it. This is obviously not a paper, it's an APA template, but let's just pretend. And so once that's in there, when I hit submit, it will show up as a clickable file that fellow students can open. But let's go ahead and continue looking at the instructions. So step 4, perform a peer review of the essay posted in the thread directly after yours in this forum. In other words, after you post yours to reply to others, what you're going to do is actually reply to the one who has posted after your post. This ensures that everybody is going to get theirs reviewed. Now, sometimes confusion does occur. Occasionally, you'll have a student who did not listen to this video, didn't review the correct one. So if the essay directly below yours has a review posted, then go ahead and choose to review an essay that does not have a review yet. This way we ensure that everybody gets theirs reviewed. Now what happens if yours is the last one? Well, then go ahead and review the first one that was posted, because that first student who posted wouldn't have any reviews for their own work yet. So let's assume that I've posted mine a day later, a couple days later, 3 days later. I check back in to see who has posted after me. And when I go in, I happen to see that this is the student who has posted after me. If that's the case, I'm going to go ahead and open that student's post, reply to him or her, and this is where my peer review is going to go. So what will you actually be saying in your peer review? Well, first and foremost, obviously you need to read that student's paper very carefully. You may need to read it multiple times to really get a good sense of it. And then you're going to be responding to a number of questions. So if we go back to the instructions, you'll see it says reply to your peer's post in their thread. And then you have a list here of questions that you're responding to in order to help them improve their paper. But you also have a peer review worksheet that you'll eventually be attaching. And this pretty much has the same questions that you see here. So if you fill this out carefully and attach it, then that will already cover what you're supposed to do for peer review. So let's go ahead and open that document and take a close look at it. Once you've got your Word document open, enable editing if necessary. Within here, you're going to put the name of the student that you reviewed, and then underneath that, your own name. And then you've got a number of questions. So summarize in 3 to 5 sentences the overall argument being made in the essay. Share your opinion on how well you think this draft meets the assignment requirements. So you want to go back and look at the instructions for the rough draft assignment to see if this is really meeting all of the requirements. Then for part 3, you basically have a little checklist here. Does the essay use appropriate APA formatting, etc., etc.? For example, you're going to check yes or no. So let's look at the particulars. Address each of the following questions using complete sentences and specific examples when possible. Remember that you can give both positive and negative answers here to help highlight both the best aspects of the essay and address those areas that need revision. So let's say that I marked this as a no. Well, you might want to point out under here some particulars of what you noticed that wasn't being done correctly, because that would really help your peer. So you're going to go through this entire checklist, add any notes here when necessary. And then let's scroll further down. You've got a few questions regarding organization. How effectively does the introduction engage the reader while providing an overview of the main controversy being addressed? Since it's organization, you'll see it kind of goes through the essay. It asks about the topic sentences, the ability of the paper to transition from paragraph to paragraph, and then it asks about the conclusion. So you're going to type underneath the question your answer to each one. And then let's scroll down a little bit further. For grammar and mechanics, again, a checklist. Feel free to add any additional information here if you think that will be helpful. And then for part 4, basically here you're typing in 3 strengths of the essay, and then essentially 3 weaknesses, 3 ways that it could be improved. So don't just state the weaknesses, but explain how this could be made better. And that's it. That's your peer review. So once that's completed, you're going to save it to your computer, and then you're going to attach it. So I've already clicked reply for this student. Once again, I can browse my computer, attach my peer review, and submit. And that will be my reply to my peer. Now, more good news. As stated in the instructions, you are only required to respond to 1 peer to receive full credit. So this is the only week where you don't have to reply to 2 of your peers. You only need to complete 1 peer review, and that will count as your discussion post, obviously in addition to the actual rough drafts that you yourself posted for another one of your peers to review for you. Now, what I'm expecting for these peer reviews is that you provide truly helpful, constructive feedback for your peer. Obviously, there's no reason to be rude or mean about anything that they've written, but that does not mean that you cannot provide some criticism in a professional way that will actually help them to improve. If it's just, that was wonderful, everything's great, yay, good for you, then there's nothing that they can do with their paper to make it any better. So the idea here is that I am providing feedback for the rough draft with obviously a grade for that, and then you are providing each other feedback. So by the time you get to the final draft, you have as much feedback as it's possible to get to produce the best possible final draft so that you can for the course. And obviously the final draft is worth more points than anything else we'll be doing in the class, so it is critical that you do as good a job on that as possible. Now, you'll remember I said that this is actually your only major writing assignment for this week. So if we scroll up here, you'll notice if we go to assignments rather than discussion board, and then you open your weekly writing assignments, and you scroll down to week 7, it's exactly the same. It's the peer review instructions. And if I click there as though I were going to submit a document, it actually takes me to the discussion board. So whichever one you click, discussion or assignments, it will take you there. Now, obviously, if you click on Toolwire assignments, you do still have a Toolwire assignment as you normally do for the week. Sometimes, you have 1 assignment, sometimes you have 2. This week it's 2, paragraph structure and sentences and paragraphs, because we're working with the revision stage at this point for your paper. So I hope that's helpful for navigating this week, what you're supposed to be doing. And as always, if you have any questions, you can reach out via phone or via email, and I will respond as soon as I can. Good luck with your peer reviews.